Welcome everyone, Athletic Impact Informational Services Target Discussion, 130403 on March, it's not March anymore, April 4th, April 3rd. Good grief. You can tell I worked all day. I'm so used to putting up dates in different arrangements by the time I get finished with my day. Anyway, here is our feedback. Today we're going to take a 2-minute tour of the International Space Station by NASA astronaut Sunita Williams. And I have placed a link into the room. It does not work very well if I try and use a video here. So I'm going to take a little time out and let all of you watch that. Also, I have been given a little grief about mounting videos on YouTube, and I really don't want that. I seem to be able to escape the wrath of YouTube if I just fair use for teaching images, but not necessarily videos.
Why do they object to you doing videos?
I don't know, but the one time I did, I got a little bit of grief, and I didn't want to risk their wrath since I had about 40 videos to put up.
I've got to redo all of my videos up there because they have the wrong address at the end of them. I think people are writing to that address, and I don't have a password for it or anything.
Well, those are your videos, though. Those are not you showing someone else's videos.
Oh, I see why they give you grief. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they give me grief. So actually, you know, if I click on it so I can tell where we are with that. If you guys have not started, please do so. Click on that link and watch that 2-minute video. A little over 2 minutes, I think it is. 2 minutes, 27 seconds.
Neat video. I was noticing on the picture for your feedback.
Yeah.
It's got directions. I mean, the place isn't that big, but it's got directions down under her knees to the habitat area here. I guess they can get disoriented.
Okay, I started mine last, I think. So All of you, I would hope, are finished. Is anybody still watching the video? Okay. Janine says she's going to need to watch it later, and okay, Russell's going to watch it later because his machine, it may freeze. He's doing too much at once. Understandable. I have a laptop that's kind of slowing down. I can't use it for this. Michelle and Ronald. Okay, well, we'll pull up a couple of sessions and look at them here. This is from viewer 6, who sent it in, can't be with us. Only had time to do just a little quick session, but there's enough here that I could tell he had sight contact. And here's Jed. Jed, there's the video, Jed, that we all just watched. It's only 2.5 minutes. So, can you see that link?
I tried to get into it.
Oh, they threw you off?
Well, no, it wouldn't load. It just sat there and spun. I was wondering, I sent my target to you, my session, shortly after you and I talked 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I'll find it.
Okay.
Oh, and now Ronald's in here twice. He must have probably gotten thrown out too. All right, so now Ronald, you're in here twice and you have 2 mics. So that gets a little confusing, but okay, sorry if I gave everybody's machine a hard time with doing that. Here's viewer 6's session. It's just this one page. He does mention a male bio. Primary bio was a female. And the position, let's see, appears to be a building or large object. The man-made appears to have what could be antennas for communication. Had a stray cat of or AOL of a mobile TV station vehicle. Motion seems to be part of the main event. Loud rumbling sounds associated with the motion. Appears to be moving in an upward direction or is being reflected or bounced back from a downward force. Motion is unsettling in its emotional content for the viewer. Other things at the site, sensations of nausea associated with extreme motion and height, loud sounds like stampeding of boots on the pavement or a stampede. Ambiance of fun and excitement, the temperature's cool, able to see distant scenes. At 200 feet above the target, there seems to be what look like fields which have different color tone and the same color, sort of like a football field or areas on a farm field. So, Lynn, this viewer is not with us. Do you have anything you'd like to comment on regarding this session?
Well, yeah, a lot of impressive stuff here. Stray cat of a mobile TV station vehicle, which that's how it's acting right then. The antennas appears to be, I was trying to get the cube root of 29,000 feet, but to find out how many square feet they had, but position right of, okay. There are several things in here that just, point to the fact that he's on target. I mean,
yeah,
really neat. The area where you can look out over the earth and the fields have a different color tone. That was impressive too. And the loud sounds like stamping of boots, that was on the video.
I didn't pick that up. I was probably too busy running all the buttons and
yeah,
things here.
It was it was part of the production stuff. They would go thump and show a new scene, and then thump and show a new scene.
Okay.
Or that's what I was getting anyway. Yeah.
I'll have to go back and pay attention to that.
But motion is unsettling. Upper direction or is being reflected. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here that just shows sight contact. This is impressive.
I was impressed. When I received this, came an email, said, barely had time to do anything, but practice, is the big thing, so here you go. And I quick emailed back. I looked it over, and I know it was short, but trust me, if I needed to retask you, I think I could. So
I also liked the semi-stray cat going on here, the semi-AOL. Seems to be older or in charge, therefore must be male. Right.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't go there.
Yeah. And these sneaky little half AOLs will sneak in and when you least expect them. And that's one of the neat things about remote viewing is you're not only getting the target, you're also getting the viewer.
All right, and Jed, I'm trying to remember how you label yours because you always put your initials, I think, on your file. Anyway, we'll find it. Because I think you include JJB maybe when you label your session file instead of just Bendix. Okay, so moving right along. Here's Michelle's. And Michelle is just rounding up on about 25 sessions ever as a basic student. And she risk of set-asides down here. So everything that you're setting aside needs to be up above in the POCD area. And then you come down and you do the set-aside mantra with each perception that you're setting aside.
Okay.
So anyway, moving through and you're so polite.
Ronald might like a review of the set-aside process too.
Yeah, we do have a few sessions to go through, and I will try my best.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry. I agree with you completely. So anyway, Michelle has a lot of good gestalts in sight contact. Now, I did on your comment in your sessions. You've got some AOLs or physical distractors over here. You're stretching my neck, head. I don't know what that is as an analyst. You've not labeled that.
I wasn't sure how to label it, Teresa.
Okay.
That can be labeled either as a note or an AOL.
Okay.
There are about 18 different kinds of AOLs and stray cats. And AOL or stray cat just sort of acts as an overall thing. You can also just put notes, or you didn't label it. I mean, it's over to the right side, so it's obvious that it's not part of your session.
Lynn, I think my question has been, when there's a strong physical sensation during the session, because that actually was not distractor. It seemed to be part of whatever was happening. Then what would I label it?
Actually, you could label it a stray cat or an AOL.
Okay.
But then one of the things you may want to realize is that CRV is actually a physical discipline, probably even more than it is a mental discipline, because the way your subconscious talks to you is through your body.
Right.
And so if it's telling you a message there and you're describing the messenger instead of the message,
Yes.
And so what you would do is you would say, okay, I'm twisting my neck around and popping my neck and all that. But then see if your subconscious is using that to tell you something about the target. And if so, then you would ask yourself for, perceptions while you're bending your head and all that. Are you getting any spatial perceptions? Are you getting any perceptions of emotions or anything like that?
That's really good, because I was really clear that I wanted to go in big round circles. So very interesting. Thank you.
You mean like astronauts do?
I don't know. I'm not sure about astronauts.
They go around in big circles.
And that astronaut was looking around as she was touring the space station with us. So, when you get into intermediate, I think you'll appreciate a lot of things. So,
yes, ma'am.
I am on page 7 of your session because that's in the WebEx thing here. Your AI is there, and you're still telling, let's review, and Lynn's here, your spatial relationship to the target. You're telling us a story here. It's beautiful to look at, but there's too much noise and activity. I feel in very watch out move. So where is the target in relationship to you and you in relationship to the target? Is it in front of you, beside you, behind you, over there? It may be beautiful to look at, but, and then the second part is, go ahead.
Therein lies the question. If you're saying it's beautiful, that's a perception about the site.
Right.
And it would go over on the left side.
Right, which is where I'm trying to lead her to.
Yeah, if you're saying that I'm getting a sense of beauty from it, the appreciation of beauty and all that, then you're talking about your own emotions, not about the site. So I'm sorry, that's where you were headed, so I'll back off.
And then her second sentence is the watch out is how the emotion that you have in response to the site is what you need to declare and set aside so it doesn't hijack your session. So,
and that's what she did in the second sentence there.
Yep, she nailed that part. She's in watch out move.
Yeah.
So I like that part. So I wanted to point out to her that she is a Celtic. Boy, I tell you, she tells some good stories. And in real life too. So here is her sketch.
I got a card today from a guy in Ireland. The head of the card said, and so this Irishman walks out of a bar, and you open it up, and it says, "Hey, it happens."
So she's got a really great sketch here, and this could be someplace on Earth. Really, truly, she's zoomed in on it if it is, but. I was trying to somehow get a space station out of this sketch. Anybody want to, Lynn or Michelle?
I don't think you're going to get a space station out of this.
No. I'm trying to think of like Soylent Green and growing stuff, and I'm still it's a stretch.
No, I'm good to go.
You have to be very careful about waffling on that.
I know. That's why I can't do it.
Yeah,
it's not there.
Looking down and seeing just a hodgepodge of everything, may be a symbolic thing for looking down on the entire planet. I don't know. That may be waffling too.
That's as close as I could get, but I heard that giggle. Okay. Now you cue after your phase 3 sketch, you cue yourself with purpose. So you're doing quite a little bit of analyzing here. All you need to do is say work-related or recreational or something along those lines. And so natural beauty logging site with something new happening, workers there to gather and collect something. Well, there are workers at the space station, but still, like, we're looking for the purpose, such as recreational or, you know, educational, anything else. Go ahead, Lynn.
If you were to remove the nouns,
Yeah.
okay, natural, beautiful, logging. I'm not sure how that would fit in, but it would. Happening, gathering, collecting. Okay, those would be your descriptors of purpose. It's when you start putting in the nouns that you start building castles and start trying to identify the site. And the rule in CRB is, you know, describe, don't identify. Because the minute you identify a site, you lock yourself into something, and it's miserably hard to get out. That's why we tell everybody just leave out those nouns.
And so then you started into your summary with target has aspects of water, man-made, land, motion, and biological. And there's probably water there. I don't think it's loose water like as in a natural pool. I like the man-made was a station-like shelter. I like that.
That's a keeper.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
That's the one you show around to people.
yeah, you need to frame that one.
Thanks.
But still, you're coming right out and declaring things, but you can, in outline form, you know, list station-like, shelter-like, but anyway, that's a keeper. And motion was from large machinery driving in, move things, and take things away.
And here's where the noun logging site just locked you into a perception set.
Yes.
And, you know, is going to color everything.
However, she does have a pearl in there. In the video, they showed us the shuttle that was taking them home later that day.
That's right, yeah.
So we do have some accuracy there. So congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you.
And then we tried, this is only the second time Michelle's ever done a retasking. So her structure, where is it? There we go. Structure isn't there. I told her to retask on, I said, describe that which you say is engineer oriented. So you need to and you'll probably drop back into session where you were, but you're a basic student instead of intermediate, so you'll learn the difference of that. But you would still go ahead and probably maybe at your stage need to consider going back to ideograms and getting your,
That was very clear to me when I finished. I was like, uh-oh, yeah.
But you have gotten a lot of good stuff, and like Sydney Opera House would be an AOL off to the right. And I'm going to move on toward, and then you don't, I mean, you can write your retasking just to keep you on target at the top of your page again. Now here we go. Like a tilting sail of a ship, and razor thin platform. Lynn probably knows this. He knows all this detailed stuff. But I can appreciate this, the fact that, I won't get this right probably, but my cousin's husband's brother was one of the folks who worked the weather window and determined launch criteria. So my cousin and her husband actually got to go on a space shuttle, and they were not allowed to touch anything because the foil covering on the shuttle, you could poke your fingers through it. It's so thin. So Lynn knows all this kind of stuff. So I don't know about the space station itself, but I could appreciate the shuttle having that type of technology. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. I thought it might actually be applicable.
Yeah, actually, that foil is very tough.
Yeah, well, it has to be, but they said you could poke your finger through it very easily, so they couldn't touch it.
Maybe the German stuff you can. You can't with ours. If you ever get a chance to come down this way, I'll show you some of the stuff that's on the lunar lander. And we've moved off the lunar lander and the spaceship, and now then we're working on the Thor engine. So we're
down at the Space Academy or at the museum?
The museum, yeah. Anyway, yeah, but the flooring is very thin, but generally, on the U.S. ones at least, it's sort of like a wire mesh. Not wire, but, you know, open weave mesh if they have to have one. And that gives you the strength to step on or to land against, but also lightweight. So it is thin.
Now, I thought this first sentence in her summary, because it's really cold up there, so something's doing something to make way for a thing to come through, because she can't describe it. Thing to come through like the game on ice where they brush ice to make it slicker, faster, curling. So she's seeing like a Zamboni. Is that what you're trying?
No, I wasn't seeing a Zamboni, but I felt like.
Not the machine necessarily, but something that makes something more slippery?
It was something about the movement, but I couldn't quite grasp it. No, it wasn't something that I saw like specific, like on ice or anything like that. I was getting the impression that there was the movement. I couldn't understand what was.
I thought that was a really good example of somebody trying like all get out to describe something and really trying hard. So if at all possible, if you can't describe it, you can always try to sketch it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to show some of the astronauts and the engineers here. Her description of the thing is being like a Flintstone car.
That'll go over well.
They'll want that one framed.
Yeah. Now look at this though. Remember the view that she said everybody wants to stay there? The top is off, and then she has this sketch.
That's impressive.
Yeah, what's that look like?
A box of stars.
Yeah, stars through a window, yeah.
Yep, stars through a window. What do you think, Miss Michelle?
You know, I'm taking the challenges much better, much freer with where I work and how I work. So those are the types of things that I'm noticing. But I'm not letting myself off the hook about not having an ideogram with my retask. And, you know, the castle building is still a big problem. Me and my nouns. It's hard to separate the Irish from their nouns, man. But
that's English speakers, period.
okay. But I appreciated the movement from the first session to the retask. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't too much. I enjoyed it very much.
Nice job.
Thank you.
One word of caution on that. There's sort of an understood feeling when somebody retasks you that whatever they're retasking you with is the important part of the target. And in practice and in training, it's very likely that you may get retasked to describe something that's often, off in the background or something like that, because it's training and retasking. And so don't have the AOL that just because you were retasked with one thing, that's the important thing. Teachers and project managers get kind of sneaky that way.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it might not be the most important thing. It might be something that I think that you'll be able to work with in a practice session.
Well, and I'm going to try to be very limber and flexible. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
And even when you get into operations, like you're working a missing person case, and you describe a person, and they come back, and the police come back, and they say, "Tell us more about this person." You're prone to get the idea that that's the missing person, but it may be a witness or somebody like that they have more interest in, and so you cannot jump to those conclusions, because if you do, you're just building castles before you even start.
Yes. Got it.
Okay, I've pulled up Russ's session, and Russ has not had any formal training, so Ronald, I'm just explaining Russ's style. And he is describing first here land, and he always has so much information. There are 8 pages just like this. So I think you can all scroll down through them. And Lynn, while we're scrolling down through Russ's perceptions, could maybe you speak to the fact that land as a gestalt versus...
I think that was takeoff time, that terrain stuff. I went to the other end of the time schedule, it looks like to me.
Okay, so actual land when the shuttle took off to go to the space station?
Yeah, I think I drew the shuttle on the sketch too.
Well, we've got dimensionals. Ooh, I scrolled. Vast sky outdoors, many spiraling. We've got spacey, way up feeling, metallic hull. It's reinforced. Let's see. You've got the biologicals are young to midlife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anybody who spots a really right or really great perception, holler out, because he's got a ton of stuff here.
As far as the difference between land as a gestalt and land as a noun, and this applies to all of the nouns. Land as a noun means land. I mean, pure and simple. Land as a gestalt means that which has the properties that land has. So it's sort of a primitive aspect. So you'll find a lot of times if there's a target of actors on the stage, the viewer will describe land as being hard, flat, shiny, and such as that. And yet the land, the floor of that stage has the aspects that land has in that you walk on it, you stand on it, and so on. And all of the, ideograms and the gestalts that go with them are that way. You're describing a concept when you describe a gestalt. So water, okay? Water as a noun in your session will be water. Water as a gestalt will be humidity. It'll be a cloud. It'll be a glass of water. It'll be a lake. It'll be the ocean. It'll be a drop of sweat or a drop of dew, anything like that. It can also be a gallon of gasoline. It can be, a bottle of castor oil. They're all liquid. They all have watery aspects to them. And so in your stage one, like when you get the gestalt of water, don't automatically think that you're talking about a glass of water or a lake or something like that. What you're talking about is that there is something at the site which has the liquid aspects or the other aspects of that which is water. And so, like I say, it could be a gallon of gas. Who knows?
Thank you. Excellent improv there. You go.
Good. I hope it didn't confuse everybody.
No, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Russ.
Oh, nothing more. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to, I'm on page 4, and I was looking, go ahead.
So many pages there, you have to go and check them out. I can't recall. After I'm done, I can't recall any of it.
In WebEx, I'm on page 4, and it's got dimensions. It's a vast place outdoors. There are many arches, rounded, tubal, pipe-like, and metallic, rotational and fanning, and structural. There's floating, hollow, hull-like, multi-levels, wide vessel, automated, ultralight, thin, and you do have temperature differentiation. Lynn, how cold is it in space? He has temps 70s in the man-made and outside cold in the 30s.
I was thinking, I know outer space is colder than 30, but what I was thinking is, what's the temperature inside of the controlled environment?
I thought that was...
That's usually kept at around 72 unless they have some special, like computerized equipment that has to be cooled further, and then they'll lower the temperature. But, as far as outside, once you get to 30, who cares? It's colder than that. I mean, for me, that's absolute zero anyway.
We've got sizes. I'm on the next page. Sizes: dense, floatiness, anti-gravitational force, clustered, interlocking. Bio is short and slender. Speeds are quick, hasty, punching, and kicking. She was kind of punching and kicking.
Yeah.
And it seems as if we are traveling. There's possible cooking along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see.
Yeah, as far as your question about water, most of those packets of food are dry, quick frozen and all that, and they have to be mixed with water and heated. If you ever go to the Space Museum in D.C., buy some of the ice cream and try it.
I have.
You'll never go into space.
or just bypass the ice cream if you do.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Got all kinds of stuff that the biological is actually doing: pointing, posing, posturing. Not saying that you're all 100%, but you have a lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but I see some of the things in there. I just don't. I don't know how the sand and clay, animal feel, stalking. I don't know how I got that. Scratching. It felt like that. Maybe they're just scratching their whatever. Yeah.
And go ahead.
As you pass over the earth, I tried to. There's one part, I don't know what part it is exactly right now, but where I was sort of trying to describe something like circular rotational that was something to do with the earth, but I can't remember which part it was. Some of that's, I think, passing over like it was for Michelle. But a lot of other places going on there.
Then I am on your last page here, kind of scrolling rapidly. We had an email afterward because Russ had not included
that was
his sketches.
The next day, I think, afternoon.
Yeah, with his session. Yeah, and of course they're not in this one.
Because I was bored.
So
nothing better to do. To dream about what it might be.
He wrote an email, which kind of, I can get it up here. I put it, there we go. That he just included this. I didn't ask him about it or whatever, but it reminded me of, if you, as Lynn would say, pull out the nouns and look at what he's saying here. Says, I can redo the biological and sketch a crustacean, lobster, crayfish, bug from living in the ocean on barren sand to his cave, to being trapped, put in a boat, transported to the seafood store to be cooked if you want. And the summary will be a lobster's life. And I put the pieces together that makes the most complete sense to me. Little castle building there. I think that's why I'm under in a cave, in water, floaty, anti-gravity feel, above water, wild temp changes on Earth, being steam cooked, like red-orange bio, kicking and fighting to get away, and seasonal plus been around a long time. And so, anyway, I was looking at that going, okay, swimming, water, floating, anti-gravity feel, if you were on Earth versus up there. And I'm not waffling, I was just thinking about, it being so much warmer down here. So anyway, Lynn, would you want to make any comments about that, about the similarities? Go ahead, Russ.
There's nothing really about that mail that's got to do anything to do with those other 19 pages, but that's a good story.
Lynn, do you have anything you'd like to say about that?
Just one. There's one that I wanted to say. There is a problem in remote viewing that is commonly known about, but rarely ever talked about, simply because it just usually doesn't come up. And it's called the medium problem. The medium you're in, you don't see. So if you're in the air, you don't really see the air, you just take it for granted. If you're in water, you generally don't see the water, you just take it for granted. And many times, if it's an underwater scene, we will move them up out of the water and back down into the water so that they can experience the change, and all of a sudden they know they're in water. Well, space is also a medium. And you know, if I put you looking for a mafia boss, you know, and you're in the middle of cement, you may see the mafia boss, but you're not going to see the cement. And floating in space is like living in the ocean, barren, trapped in a boat, transported, okay, could be cooked if you want, and so on. And here that first paragraph, you go through and you leave out the nouns, you're going to get some neat descriptors of being on the space station.
That's why if you don't write the story, if you just write your perceptions and your descriptors, then your conscious mind isn't assigning it.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons that we always tended to discourage, we didn't ban it, but we tended to discourage people from writing their summary in sentences. And, you know, because when you start a sentence, it has to make sense, simply because the sentence demands it. You have to have a subject, verb, and so on. And if you just go through your perceptions, pull out the ones that you still think are right at the end of the sentence, at the end of your session, and you bring those over into your summary, you will filter out the good stuff from it. You will tend to leave the garbage behind, and the descriptors that you list are generally going to be of high quality and pertaining to the target. But if you start working on sentences, it's a trap. It's just a trap. It's a culture trap, actually, because a sentence has to make sense.
I thought this was priceless.
You love what?
I thought this little lobster story was priceless.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of like Hella Hammond when she didn't know what a nuclear reactor was, so she described a teapot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Russell. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Getting little clicks. Uh-oh. Russ is no longer Oh, there he is. Oop, thought we lost him.
Well, I'm here. Yeah, maybe you can show that scrappy. That is a shuttle I drew, but I wasn't sure why it looked more high tech than a real one. I don't even know if that woman went up in a shuttle. I thought they stopped that quite a while back. Is that an old story or a new story?
Oh, I don't know the date on it.
There's a lot going on in the space program that the public isn't informed of.
Did you see that space shuttle type thing I drew? It's a little different than, it was only reflex, but it's different than the actual one a little bit.
Well, again, I am guilty of having multiple sessions from you land in my inbox, and so when I pull them up for this, it doesn't have your...
They're all in one spot. They were consolidated to...
It didn't load in here with the one that I thought was your finished one. Because
no,
I've loaded it into WebEx, so...
Okay.
But when I'm roaming around here to get Jed's...
It's got a weird windshield on it anyway. It's different than their old shuttle, and I wondered if they had something no one's aware of out there.
Well, she said she was going to hitch a ride back, I thought, on the Russian one.
No, it's not like that. It's sort of like the shuttle.
All right, and then last we have, well, no, last. Jed will be last. Here's Janine's, and let's see if I can shrink that just a little bit. Thing is, if I shrink it too much, then the people who are watching. And Janine is freestyle CRDer. And I'm scrolling down through here. And where you guys are with your scrolling. I'm trying to remember. Here's an AOL of Apollo carrying the sunlight across the Earth. Energy, light, bright, red arc curve. Go ahead, Lynn.
Neat sketch of the atmosphere above the Earth, too.
Yep, that's her stage 3. I was kind of going back and forth with this a little bit. Then she's given her a self-move command. Go to assign target and describe, so she's staying on task. Then we've got small rectangular opening towards the middle bottom. Somebody's working on wires. And a sketch, and there's a fair amount of her moving through doorways in that video. And Janine took a break, and now she's getting sight contact and coordinates and ideograms again. With one of them is actually space. Right there. Actually, I don't see too many people getting space.
Here again, when you get the gestalt of space, it can be outer space or the space inside of a tin can, or, you know, the space inside your lungs or anything like that. You're just saying that there is open space.
And she does say that she looking up height area, something rounded, orb-like in motion, moving in space as an AOL. Took a break and came back. Said there is something rounded with a door in the center, close quarters. People moving their arms bent at the elbow in front of their torsos, much like boxing, but wearing clothing or upper body rhythmic, like fainting. Not passing out fainting, like fake out fainting. Then someone looking up at something, an object above them, curved from below, it's large and outside. And now she's texting over here. I actually thought of the space station, but dismissed it as too obvious. Did I see that written down anyplace? Hint, hint.
I don't think either one of us should throw the first stone at her for that one.
No, I was just hinting that so she maybe learns that she could do that. I am sure in this session she got tons of information that she probably couldn't even keep up with. I'm scrolling up and down back through it a little bit. Janine, I'm looking over to see if you have more to say in your texting area. Lynn, if you need to jump in case she's typing.
I was wondering what the T1 and T2 and the V are.
Tangible 1, tangible 2, tangible 3. Textures, temperatures, tastes. Okay. A dumb question. Whose methodology uses that? Or is that your way of documenting what your perceptions are matching up with? Saw it over at Daz's at TKR, okay? Because it was structured enough, I assumed that you'd probably picked it up somewhere. I shouldn't have said that. You could have invented it on your own and become a rich woman. Oh, here's an AOL of the sun with a question mark. About the time she's describing energy, light, bright, red, arc, curve, and aura. Good session. And I seem to be seeing the sun from outer space. I think you might have been. I'm going to let you all chat for a moment, ask questions, comment on the sessions. I'm going to go and see if I can pull Jed's up. Russ says, good job, Janine. Lynn, go ahead. Uh-oh. Lynn's mic is not showing up by his name. Yes, Ronald.
I was looking at these structures here, and when you have the 130403, I've always worked with 2 sets of 4 coordinates. Would this be the same way?
Actually, oh, Lynn evidently got booted out. Oh, he's back. Just a second. I'm going to let. Okay, Lynn is back.
Sorry, I just had a power outage. Just knocked me offline.
A little power surge there. We've experienced that, Michelle? I'm going to look for Jed's session. Lynn, Ronald has a question about coordinates, what we have up here now, and he's used to working with 2 sets. So, Ronald, could you please ask your question again, and Lynn will be happy to explain.
Okay. I usually work with 2 sets of 4 coordinates, and you have here 1 set of 6. Would you use that the same way?
Yeah. The standard was 2 sets of 6 coordinates, and generally, like what we have here, is the year, day, year, month, and day, and then the second line would be your viewer number. This is for databasing purposes, and also it's the encryption way of doing it. So it shows the date of the practice session, your viewer number, like I would have 018, and then how many sessions for today. So like if this were my first session, I'd have 01801, and how many times I've tried this. So 1 for original tasking, 2, 3, 4, and so on for retaskings. And so we normally have 2 6-digit coordinates. I don't know where in the world Ed came up with 4 digits. What this simulates is in the original training for Mingo Swan, he would have the longitude, longitude on top and latitude on bottom, or one of those. Anyway, it would be like taking this number here. It would be 13 degrees, 4 minutes, 3 seconds, and then he would have a north or south, and then so on. When it was decided that over a period of time, a remote viewer will eidetically, unconsciously sort of memorize the Earth, know where the oceans are and where the different continents are. that they would start encoding things. And so they tried it with random numbers, and in order to make the random numbers look like Ingos, they just kept on with 6 digits. And then I worked the database, and so I said, look, if you're just picking random numbers, one of the things we found out was that a person will tend to pick the same random numbers, even if you're using a random number generator. You will press go, and then you'll press stop to get a random number. But after years of doing that, you get into such a rut that you wind up getting the same numbers over and over. And so anyway, what we did was just take the first line is today's date. That tells you nothing about the target. And yet in the database, it allows us to call up this session by the date you did it. And then the second line, most people here have not taken the training, and so they haven't gotten a viewer number. But the second line, in my case, would be 018. And then the next 2 digits would be how many sessions I've done today. So if it was my first session today, it would be 01. And then how many times I've been tasked with this target. You're never tasked with the same target more than 9 times. I mean, if you're doing that, there's something wrong. And so if I had done this session, my session transcript would show 2 lines of numbers, 130403, 018, 011. And like I say, where Ed and also Dave, where they got the idea of using 4 digits, I don't know. It just makes it harder to database, but also it doesn't matter. I mean, we tried encrypting numbers, and they worked. We tried using letters, and they worked. We tried using words, and they worked. We tried using the word target, and it worked. Basically, the coordinate has 2 purposes. One is so you can keep records. The other is so that as you write the coordinates down, your hand is moving, and so it's easier to flow into an ideogram when your hand's already moving than if I just say, okay, do a target, make an ideogram. And so the only 2 purposes for the coordinates are record keeping and getting your hand moving. It's just pure mechanics.
Okay.
But, you know, there's nothing at all wrong with 2 4-digit numbers or 2 6-digit numbers or letter-word combinations. If you go to the Hawaii Remote Viewers group, I think they use 4 letters for theirs, and it works.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at everybody's work, and I was trying to see the consistencies of it, how they worked it.
Yeah, basically, what Teresa does is she gives the date that we'll be meeting. This is 2013, 4th month, 3rd day, and so she gives the date that we'll be meeting as the first coordinate, and then if a viewer does have a viewer number, you know, if they've been to training and gotten an official viewer number, then they would have the second line and so on. But if a person hasn't been to training, they don't have that number, so they just don't do the second line.
Mm-hmm.
I know one time I went into, not to the viewing room, but Skip Atwater took me into the conference room and sat me down in front of a piece of paper and a pencil, and he said, "Tell me about it." And I said, "Oh, great, what do I do now? You know, I screwed up something, I don't know what." And so I said, "Okay, tell you about what?" And he said, "Tell me about it." And I said, "Skip, I don't know what I did wrong, or I don't know what you're talking about or anything. What do you want me to tell you about?" He looked down at the paper, over at the pen, and up at me, and he said, "Tell me about it." And I realized, those are my coordinates. I picked up the pen, I wrote down, "Tell me about it," and took off and had a great session.
And the moral of the story is?
And the moral of the story is that the only two real purposes for the coordinates are not really mental at all, because you're going to get on target no matter what. The only real purpose for the coordinates is, one, databasing, and two, just to get your pen moving so that it's already moving when you come up to an ideogram. It's very realistic.
I had somebody who couldn't view unless they quote unquote had something to grab onto. So,
well, you know, Pat Price couldn't view unless he had his glasses on. He'd sit in a dark room with his, you know, not being able to view, and he'd put his glasses on, and then he'd start viewing. Yeah, it's like Red Sox when you're going to a baseball game. You know, if you don't wear your red socks, your team's not going to win. It's just, it's limitations you put on yourself.
Do you have a specific structure that you use as for the form or anything?
Yeah, when we're doing practice and training, we use the date and year, month, and day. The reason we do it year, month, and day is because it produces a 6-digit number, and the next day is going to be a higher number. The only time it's not is when you go over into the century, you know, the year 2000. We'd have 99 as the first digit, and then 00 as on the next day we'd have 00. But other than that, for the next century, if you put year, month, and day, every session you do is going to have a higher number than all the sessions you did before that. And so it makes it easier for databasing. It automatically sorts. But then you went to a seminar. Did Ed give you any viewer numbers like he does his students?
No, he just gave us 2 4-digit coordinates.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's just showing how it works now. But what I do is all of the zeros are basically sort of reserved. It's kind of like the 007, you know. We have enough. You have a single 0, but I started all my students with 102 simply because one of our viewers had 101. He would not take a 0 in front of his spy number, his agent number. I was agent 18, Paul was agent 3, and so on. So it was 003. But in the world of espionage, you get a 3-digit number, and so that was what we put there instead of our name on every piece of paper. So anyway, we'd put the date, or in operations, we would put the project number, and then on the second line below that, we'd put our viewer number, and the next 2 digits would be the question number of the operation. So like we're doing an operation for the CIA, and they've asked us 5 questions. It'd be the project number, 6 digits, 018 and then I'm working question number 3. I'd have an 03. And how many times have I been tasked to do this question? 1 for your original tasking, 2, 3, 4, and all that for retaskings. So it was a simple thing just to keep the computer happy, really.
Lynn, I could demo that. Do that sequence again, and I'll just type what you just said.
Okay, let's say we're working a practice target. Today is 2013, so it'd be 13. So it'd be 13.
Okay.
04, because it's the 4th month, and 03, it's the 3rd day. Now, below that, the next line would be, for me, 018, and this would be my first target today, so it'd be a 01, and this is the original tasking, so it would be a 1. Now, for a retasking, that last number would be a 2. Okay? Yeah. First session today, first time I've been tasked with it. Task, yeah. Okay, let's go to an operational target. We're doing an operation right now. We've got a team doing an operation, and let me give you the coordinates for it. It is...
you really want to do that? Oh.
Okay, let me make up one.
Okay.
87 0721, and that's the project number that we would be working. Now, the project manager is going to talk to the customer, and the customer will have maybe 5 questions. Okay.
Okay.
And so my viewer number is 018. And let's say I've been tasked with question number 4. It would be 04. So I'm working question number 4. And this is the first time I've been tasked with that question. It would be a 1. And this allows you in the database to call up this project and then ask for question 4, and it will bring up only those sessions which are dealing with question number 4. And the same for question number 3 and all that. It will also let you look in the database and pull up all sessions for 018 for me as the viewer, so that you can see the scores and the types of targets that we're working on, and that will let you build a track record to see how dependable I am on each type of target, and so on. 87 shows the type of target. And so, anyway, doing it this way, you can use a computer not just as a bit bucket to to keep records in, but you can actually use that coordinate and have the computer sort to bring up information on question 4, information on viewer 018, and single out the original taskings that I do and then the retaskings that I do to see whether I'm better or worse on original taskings or retasking. You can use the computer using this method. You can use the computer to find out all kinds of information about your team, your type of targets, find out a viewer's track record and everything just by typing in the specific parts of the coordinate and asking the computer to sort on those. So that was kind of a lengthy explanation. Did that help?
Yes, it did.
Good. Okay. Yeah. The thing that most people forget is that along with remote viewers, we were also spies. And we had to report in an orderly manner. We had to report in a formatted, standard manner. We had to have all of our work done in such a way that it could be data-based, track records kept on our work to see how good we were, and all this. And there was very much science involved, along with the operations. You know, a 4-star general walks in and says, "Hey, you know, you sent us this report, and viewer 054 gave us some really good stuff. I want to see what all viewer 054 does, and I want to see his track record." Fine. You type 054 *** into the computer, and right there you can just impress the crap out of a 4-star general, you know. So it was very much a science, and it was very much a real job. It wasn't sitting around, you know,
eating M&Ms.
Eating M&Ms and thinking of light and love and peace, you know. And it was definitely not a New Age thing.
Yeah, I'm just going to save this. All right. I would like to get Russ's sketches up here, see if he has any comments, and then Jed's session is still to go. It's 9:27. We're not doing too bad for you 2 hours. Too badly. Russ, anytime you want to, there you go, jump back in here.
Well, I don't know what to say. We could have out of space station there at the bottom, I suppose. I have no idea.
Okay.
I made some comments here. They didn't make it to the regular list. I didn't type those back up a second time. And there's that shuttle-ish thing. What the heck? I thought, what if that's something from, you know, we don't know about?
Are you?
It's got like a shadow underneath it.
Are you way up at the top? Because I scrolled down at the bottom.
Yeah, not that jalopy-looking car. No. Oh, that inside the round, and like the inside of the space station there, with this rectangular inside of it with the little pieces
right
on the edge. Yeah.
That?
Yeah. Otherwise, I can't tell what I wrote or did. I see I have some arches there, but I can't read it.
One of the primary rules is you're the viewer and this is your session, that if I'm analyzing it objectively, to me that looks like one of the doorways.
Yeah.
So it looks familiar to me, but...
Yeah. But it's been so long since I did it, I try to forget everything, so... Unless it comes up again. Yeah.
All right, then you did have 2 more. I just scrolled down for the recording here. You've drawn a vehicle, and I don't know, can you tell me, is this sketch here, it looks like a person on their side, but I can't tell. Do you have any recall?
The top one?
Yeah,
top one?
But see the window on it?
That's a shuttle person. That's a shuttle. I know it was a shuttle when I did it, when I did the diagonals. But that is a car.
Yes.
It's funny, I drew an old junk car, and Michelle drew that same type of setup. Like, you know, old cars around and stuff. It's I don't know why we both did that.
The Flintstone thing. Lynn, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, if you look, you can see the window that he was talking about.
Yeah.
Where? Up top? Or the one I'm on?
On that top sketch that you've got dark in there, yeah. Okay. Look over to the left on the top of it, and you can see that windshield on it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you guys are better than me.
I wonder if that's something Of course, that's only my hand taking off doing that. I'm not visualizing and sketching. My hand took off and did that.
That's a very good way to do it. The subconscious can take over the hand, and your conscious mind doesn't get involved in it, so it doesn't get in the way. That's a very good thing.
You guys are obviously better than me because I'm not seeing anything that looks like a window.
Looks sort of like a Nike, that Nike symbol.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
All right.
well,
Well, probably ought to be taking a look at Jed's session here. Okay, Jed, anytime, you're on. Let's see, we have 16 pages here. And I'm looking, no advanced visuals.
I didn't know about I put precognitive in below where the location, because this was a precognitive.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You want to explain what we did here?
I did the session before you choose the target. You chose the target.
That's right. So, that is correct. My life's been a little hectic. I'm sorry I fell out on that detail. It's very important. So, Jed turned this in like 3 days before I chose the target. So, let's see here. Of course, he's got 16 pages. I'm going for his AOL's in session. I'm kind of scanning, and here's his AI. It's in front of me. Looks tired and morbid.
Yeah. And I have a person swimming.
Yeah, I noticed that. And then you got some sheep and goats kind of interfering there in your head. Breathtaking. Cumbersome. Got a couple of bios. Move to assign target and describe the target activity. Good structure on a move command there in P4. What do you smell? Sneezing. I'm going to describe its motion. Climbing, lifting, swimming, orchestrated, which to you as a viewer means organized, kind of, sort of. And characteristics: swimming, overwhelming, tired. I'm not saying we're not going to go back and revisit this. I'm just... Oh, somebody's got a Skype call.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, you?
I ignored it, yeah.
Okay. Then we've got some map dowsing here.
Trying to douse outer space. That's what I learned.
All right.
Did you provide those maps?
I got those off the internet.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I didn't know if she provided them for you or what.
Nope. I do not.
A lot of times in operations, they will provide you with a map, like if you're working for the police or the CIA or something like that, they'll provide you with a map of where they think the hostage or the missing person is, And the first thing you have to remember as a remote viewer is it may not be on this map. So you cannot assume, that's an AOL that starts your castle building right away. And so anytime you get a map like that, your first question is, can I find it on this map? If I can't, then it's not on this map.
That's a good point. That's probably what explains my first one. I got these lines drawn. I was having a hard time. But I just decided on the middle part of it around China there, and that's all I can do. It was a tough dose.
The summary here. There's a biological, which is soft, round, fluffy brown, furring, fully prostrated, vertical, orchestrated, which is talkative, which is encouraging, and looks like yelling.
Correct.
There's motion, which is similar to swimming, which is, I'm going to have to enlarge this.
Upwards.
Swimming,
Okay.
which is upwards, orchestrated. Lifting, which is more swimming, which is orchestrated. There's a sound, which is ticking, softness, brushing, purring, sneezing. There's characteristic swimming, which overwhelming, which is broad-based, which is routine. Other things I found at the site were a sense of feeling cool and wet and exhilarated. I guess I could have read the typed version. Would have been a little easier, but not that it was hard. So how do you think you did, precognitive session-wise?
I think I did okay for a precog. I'm not going to say 100%, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Lynn, you have anything like to say?
I think it's neat. I think he got a lot of the information about the target. You know, there's some stuff that is questionable at best, you know, but I mean, I think he definitely had target contact here.
I get myself into trouble for showing this video, but when you get it to move here, and again, but I mean, she's wearing a black shirt, but I mean, her hair is kind of fluffy, and when he was describing the biological, as she was moving and she was fluffy. So I didn't think he did too badly.
No, I'm happy.
I think he did well.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on any of the mechanical though. But I focused on the biological more than any mechanical.
There we go. Okay, so I'm looking to see if anybody else has comments. Nothing that's popping up on the screen. Okay, that is everyone's session. Jed, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I never did get anything in the mail about your other email that you sent me, so I don't know if about some paper.
Oh, no, we are not going to talk about that.
Okay.
That's an operational project.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that. I was just going to skirt around that.
We don't even go there.
Okay.
Secrets.
Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just it's an operational project. We don't talk about it. So.
I think I would wonder at this point if Ron, is it? Well, if all of this has brought up any questions in your mind.
Oh, it's brought up some new ideas.
Good or bad?
Good ones, very good ones. What I do is I try to learn as much as I can learn from everybody out there, because I figure if I can pick up a little bit from somebody, you know, that would just add more to what I already know. I started out by reading Ingo Swann, and then as time went on, then I got a hold of Ed Dames' name, and then I got a hold of your name, and Russell Targ, and Joseph McGonigal, and a few other ones. And I managed to get all those books, and I've read most of them.
Yeah, I always advise people to learn from as many people as they can. I mean, you know, that's three-dimensional learning. You see it from different sides. But once you start training, go with one trainer. If you train first in one dojo and then another dojo and then another dojo, and you become a professional beginner. And so it's better to look around, see who helps you the most, see who seems most knowledgeable, who seems to be doing what you want to use this for, and definitely look before you leap. And then when you go with one trainer, stay with one trainer, but definitely find out as much as you can from everybody, because that's the only thing that gives you the 3 dimensions.
Well, the thing is, I won't be learning from Ed anymore because he's not going to do it anymore.
Oh, he's not?
No, I was out in January 19th to his last seminar. He said he won't be doing it anymore. He's getting ready for the end, the solar flares and everything.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Doom, yeah.
So what I've been doing is I just keep reading my books and trying to learn what I can learn. And like you said, I was hoping to come across somebody that I could start learning from them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, if the world comes to an end, I think I'll be the first to apologize for not believing Ed. But he has been trying to end the world for, the 25 years that I've known him. The end of the world has been right around, next week sometime. So that's why they call him Dr. Doom. But, it's just a thing of his.
I got the impression that he tells you half-truths. He'll start to tell you something, but he won't tell you everything.
Well, that's sort of natural part of spending, 20 years as an agent. I'm guilty of the same thing, and I think you're going to find that anybody who's been an agent for any number of years is going to tell you what you have a need to know and then quit talking. It's an occupational hazard.
Yeah, because when you know too much, you don't want everybody to know what you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I think we've reviewed all the sessions with some retrieving. And sorry about that, everybody. Hopefully your patience with me is much appreciated and not worn out. So anybody who's interested, we have more targets scheduled on WebEx up through June-ish, and you can register and get coordinates and any particular instructions. But with this diversified of a group, I stopped doing special instructions. I just have one general set, and that kind of keeps everybody on the same track and doesn't change a lot, et cetera, et cetera. So every 2 weeks, with the coordinates matching the date, and I will get this downloaded and up on YouTube. Not that you need to revisit it, but it will be there. Anybody have anything they'd like to add before we go?
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you and Lynn pretty much teach the same way?
Nobody ever can get into those big shoes of Lynn Buchanan.
What I was getting at was he had talked about stick with one person. Well, now that I'm not going to be with Ed, and I just wondered if between the two of you, I would be able to learn something.
Yeah, the Ingo Swan method, I got an email, which was a lie, when I got out of service, saying that Ingo had asked that nobody uses his terminology. And so I started using the slang terminology that we used in the military. And other than that, what I teach is pure Ingo Swan, and the students that I've had who are now teaching are also teaching the Ingo Swan method, and reaching the 100th monkey thing so that it becomes so much easier for people to learn that. And where are you located?
I live in East Canton, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
East Canton, Ohio. I'm in Troy. But actually, I was going to chime in. You are a student already, so I can teach you online. You don't have to leave your house at all.
Yeah, I'm starting online courses as well. And so Teresa and I both will be having, face-to-face online courses, not just read it, take a test.
I've been doing it for a year, so.
Yeah. And so we've got Teresa, we've got Lori Williams in Amarillo, Texas. We've got Paul O'Connor in Dublin, Ireland. Also, if you want the pure Ingo Swann method, there's Paul Smith in Austin, Texas. And remote viewing is not the same as controlled remote viewing, and this is one of the things you really need to look out for before you pay a single dime to anybody. Remote viewing is self-made stuff. Controlled remote viewing is the Ingo Swann method, and it's what was used in the military. So there are millions of people out there calling themselves remote viewers, and they may be very good psychics, but it's not the science of controlled remote viewing, which is what was used in the military and was developed by Ingo Swann and used at SRI for research. So you just sort of look before you leap. But Teresa and I both will be teaching online, so that might help.
Okay.
Actually, I taught Jed completely online. So, I think that's a wrap for tonight. And with that, good night, John Boy.
Good night, Teresa May.
All right, we'll see you folks in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for doing this, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night.